Hi guys, today we're reading the book From Shore to Shore. Let's begin our first story. It's called The Burning of the Rice Field. Once there was a good old man who lived up on a mountain far away in Japan. All around his little house the mountain was flat and the ground was rich. And there the rice of all the field who lived in at mountain foot. Morning and evening the old man and his little grandson who lived with him used to look far down to the people of the village worked in the village and watched the blue sea which lay all around the land so close that there was no room for field below, only houses. The little boy loved the rich fields dearly, for he knew that all the good food for all the people came from them. And he often helped his grandfather to watch over them. One day the grandfather was standing alone before his house looking far down the people and out the sea when suddenly he saw something very strange fall off where the sea and sky met. Something like a great cloud were risking there, as if the sea were lifting itself high into the air. The old man put his hand in his eye and looked again hard at his old sight. Then he turned and ran to the house. "Yon, yon," he cried, "bring a burden of heart." The little grandson could not imagine what his grandfather wanted with fire, but he always obeyed, so he ran quickly and brought the brand. The old man already had one was running for the rice field. Yon ran after. To his horror, he saw his grandfather thrust the burning barn into ripe, dry rice in the field. "Oh, grandfather, grandfather," exclaimed the little boy, "what are you doing? Quick, set fire. That's your Brennan says." Yon did not understand, and he began to stop, but a good boy always obeys. So, though he stopped it, he thus his touch in the sharp flame ran up the dry scalp red and yellow. In the instant, the field was ablaze, and thick black smoke began to pour out on the mountainside. It rolled like a cloud back and first, and in no time the people below saw that their precious rice fields were all in fire. Oh, how they ran! Men, women, and children climbed in the mountain, running as fast as they could to stay right. Not one soul stayed behind. And when they came to the mountaintop and saw the beautiful rice cob all in flames, beyond help, they cried bitter. "Who has done this thing? How did it happen?" I started the fire," says the old man, very slowly. The grandson stopped. Grandfather started a fire, but when they were fighting around the old man with why, he really turned and pointed to the sea. "Look," he said. They all turned and looked, and there where the blue sea had lain so calm, a mighty wall of water reaching from earth to the sky was rolling in so terrible with sight that no one could make a sound. The wall of water rolled in on the land, passed quite over the place where the village had been, and broke with an awful sound on the mountainside. One wave more, and still one more came, and then all was water below. As far as they could look, the village where they had been was under the sea, and when they realized what the old man had done, they gave him a great honor, for his wisdom had kept the village safe. Okay, now let's read another story. It's called The Sandpiper. Across the narrow beach we flew. One little sandpiper and fast I got them bit by bit, and scattered driftwood, rigid and dry. The wild waves reached their hands for it. The wild waves reached the wild winds raised, the tide runs high, up and down the beach we fled, one little sandpiper and I. Oh my gosh. Above our heads was solar clouds, black and sweat across the sea, like ceiling goats in the mustard store stand out the white lighthouse high, almost as far as an eye can reach. I see the close vessel but fly. As we floated along the beach, one little pipper and I watch him as he skims along, uttering his sweet and mournful cry. He started not at the fitful song or splash and flutter trapper. He has no thought of any realm. Yes, he scans me with fearless eye. The little pipper and I quarrel will though to be night when the new storm breaks fiercely. My driftwood fire will burn so bright. So what warm shelter canst thou fly? I do not fear or thee, though were the tempest rush through the sky. For are we not God child, both thou little sandpiper and I? Okay, now I read you another story. It's called Almost a Sailor. Long ago, before there was the United States of America, there were few towns in all the land. Most of these were near the seashore and quite small. Nearly all the people lived on their farms or on great plantations, sometimes near the banks of river. It was on one of these plantations in that part of the country called Virginia that George Washington lived when he was a boy. One side of this plantation there was a river that was broad and deep. Every summer a ship came sailing up the stream, and the anchors a little way from the shore. This ship was come from distant England, and it bought many beautiful things. It bought fine dresses and boots for George's mother and sister, and sometimes it bought horse and wagon and plows to be used on the plantation. When everything for the plantation had been brought to shore, the ship would sail away. In few weeks it would come back and anchor again in the same spot. George had seen this ship come and go every summer since he could remember. What a fine thing it must be sailing across the wide sea to the strange land and wonderful cities that lie on the other side, George said to himself. He began to think that a sailor life would be more pleasant than that of a farmer on the lonely Virginia plantation. His brother also thought it might be best for him to go to sea, for George would not be a common sailor very long. He would soon be the captain of a ship. So every Everything was made ready, and the captain of one of the king's ships says that he would take George with him. The day came for him to set sail. All of George's friends were there to tell him goodbye. As the ship was waiting in the river, the boat had come to take him on board. George felt very proud to think that he was going to be one of the king's sailors. The little box that held his clothes had been carried down the shore. To the shore. The men were about to lift it into the boat. George stood at the door. His heart was sad at the thought of leaving home. "Goodbye, Mother," he said. He saw the tears in her eyes. He saw them running down her cheeks. He knew she did not want him to go. He could not bear to see him disgusted. What if she would never be happy again? What if this should break her heart? He turned to the seventh boy who was waiting right down the landing. "Bobby," he said, "and tell them not to put the box on the board. Tell them that I am not going to sail on the ship." Then he said, "Mother, I will stay with you. I want you to be happy." "George," says Mother, "there is a blessing promised to the child who honors his father and mother. I'm sure this blessing will be yours." Okay, guys, today I'll read you another story. It's called Saved by a Dolphin. Long ago in the city of Corda, there once lived a wonderful magician whose name was Aaron. No person could play on the iron or sing sweetly as he, and the song which he composed were famous in many lands. The king of Corn was his friend. The king of Corn never grew tired of praising his sweet music. One summer he went over the sea to Italy, for his name was well known there, and many people wished to hear him sing. He visited several cities and in each place he was very paid for his music. At last, having become quite rich, he decided to go home. There was a ship just ready to take for Cora, and the captain agreed to take him as a passenger. Along the way, the sea was rough, and many ships were driven far out of the course. Many days passed before they came sight land. The sailor was rude and rough as well. And then they heard that Aaron had a large sum of money with him. They began to make plans to take it. "The easiest way," says the captain, It's to get rid of him. Then we can steal his money, and there will be nothing he can do to stop us." But Aaron was hiding around the corner and overheard them plotting. He jumps out and threw out his hand. "You may take everything that I have," he said, "if you only spare my life." But they had made their minds to get rid of him. If they let him live, he would tell the king that stole from him, seeing that there was only one hope for himself. Aaron said, "I should jump overboard, but I pray that I will first grant me a favor." "What is it?" said the captain. "Allow me to sing you my lastest and best song. I promise that as soon as it is finished, I will leap into the sea." The sailors all agreed that was fair and prepared themselves to hear the music and sing. Aaron dressed himself to his fine clothes. He took his stand forward deck, while the robber sailors stood in half circle before him, echoing the song to his song. Listen. He lifted his iron and began to play beautiful music. Then he sang a wonderful song, so sweet, so lively, so touching that many of the sailors were moved to tears. They were so touched that they almost let him stay on the ship, but the musicker was true to his promise. As soon as the song was finished, he threw himself headlong into the sea. The sailors did not wait long to divide his money among themselves, and the ship sailed on. Meanwhile, Aaron was left tossing in the sea. He thought that perhaps he could swim for the land, but the sea was much too rough, and he soon grew very tired. Thinking his time had come, he began to sing a sweet song to cheer himself. The song carried over the wave until it reached a friendly dolphin. When the dolphin heard the song, this was fantastic and set off quickly to find where the music was coming from. He saw the talented musician losing strength with eagerness, decided to help. But before the musician could finish his last lonely chords, the dolphin had pulled Aaron all the way to Carl's shore. In a short time, the greedy sailors reached Carl and safe with all Aaron's money, and the king sent an offer to bring the captain and his men to palace. "Are you the sailor from Italy?" he asked. "We are," they answered. "What news can you give me to corner my friend Aaron, the sweetest of all magicians?" "He was too happy in Italy," they answered. "He made up his mind and spent the rest of his life in that country." Hardly they had spoke these words when the door opened and Aaron himself stood before them. He dressed just as they had seen him when he jumped into the sea. The sailors could not believe their eyes. They were so until they fell upon their knees before the king and confessed their crime. The king quickly returned all the stolen money to Aaron, but curious enough, he would have been just as happy without it. Okay, this video will end here. Bye!